Okay, today we're going to have a look at spread plating and streak plating, which is a microbiological technique so that you get bacterial growth on the surface of an agar plate. I have some pre-prepared agar plates, and in another video we will show you how to actually make these plates. First of all, when you come into a microbiology lab, you ensure that you wash your hands with soap really quite well and dry them thoroughly. You make sure that you bleach down the bench. You could either use bleach or you can use ethanol to make sure that the bench is as clean as possible. You collect all your equipment and bring it to the sterile environment, so that you're not walking around and getting all of your equipment contaminated, because we want to make sure everything stays as sanitary as possible and as sterile as possible. This is called aseptic technique. Now if we turn and use the blue Bunsen flame, this is the roaring flame. It gets really quite hot, and it also produces a laminar flow effect. So the immediate area surrounding the Bunsen is actually going to be sterile. So this is our work area. We do not move out of this work area. We stay next to this Bunsen all of the time whilst working. This Bunsen flame will always be on a blue flame because we always want this area to be sterilised while we work. Okay, first we're going to have a look at doing a streak plate. We use an inoculation loop. Now this technique is here for when we have samples where there is a number of bacteria and we want to isolate individual colonies. Not only that, we can use it so that we can isolate small numbers of colonies, so as we can have a look at colony morphology, which is what it looks like, whether it's raised, whether it's flat, whether it produces a slime layer. So that's the purpose of a streak plate. So this is how we do one. Okay? We hold our inoculation loop into the Bunsen flame till it glows orange. We move it down so that all parts of the inoculation loop have glowed orange. This is so that all bacteria that would have been present on the inoculation loop are now not there. They've been heated up to a point where they will not be able to survive. We hold it next to the flame whilst it cools, because this is the sterile environment. When we think that the loop is cool enough, so it will take a few seconds, we take our culture. Now we need to ensure that this culture stays as sterile as possible, because this is going to be used for a number of classes. So what we need to do with one hand, we unscrew the lid. Okay, we unscrew the lid with one hand. Okay, we take it off. We don't hold it in the flame, we pass it through the flame. We put some bacteria onto the inoculation loop. So now we have bacteria on the inoculation loop. We pass the bacteria solution through the Bunsen flame, and now that is sealed again. We have worked in the area of the Bunsen. It is now sealed, and now I can put that to one side. In theory, I will only have E. coli on the inoculation loop. I take my agar plate. I start at one point on the agar plate. I put my finger on one part of it. And what I do is I go across the plate and make 3 streaks. I put my finger where I finished plating. So I've moved my finger across, not that you can see just yet. And then, so that as I move the inoculation loop across the plate, it becomes more dilute, I need to remove any excess bacteria from the loop. So now the loop is again sterile. I need to wait for that to cool. Now if I'm unsure, the agar plate, you can do this. You can put it on the side of the agar plate and just touch it. If it is still hot, you'll hear a hissing sound where it melts some of the agar. That's perfectly normal. It's just a way that you can test that the inoculation loop is actually cool enough. You can then take the inoculation loop and move from where you've last inoculated across the top. You only ever need to touch the top of the agar. The agar is much like a jelly consistency, and the inoculation loop is wired, so it's really quite easy for you to tear through the surface of the agar plate. Now, you don't need to do that, you just only need to touch the surface. So please don't fall into the trap of actually digging holes through the agar. That is not required. Okay, hopefully this is cool enough. I'll just test it on the side of my agar. It's fine. I make 3 more streaks. I come to where it's finished, and I'm still moving my finger as I work. Okay. I then again sterilize my loops so that there are going to be fewer bacteria in the next streak. Now this one's my 4th one, and this will be my final one, and hopefully I will isolate individual colonies. So I will touch this side, and then I move from where there was into the center of the agar plate. Before I put my inoculation loop down, I'm going to ensure that I sterilize it. Just like that, just making sure that all parts of it glow red from the tip down to the bottom, holding it on an angle to ensure that this is now bacteria free and I can put it down on my sterile bench. At all times I was working in this area, the lid to the agar plate was always just over the top of the agar plate so that it reduces the chance of contamination. When I took the lid off, it was only off so that I could streak and then put the lid back on. It did not take very long for this to be completed. You work as fast as you can and as close to the Bunsen flame as you can.